Course title, Social Perspectives in Education. Course Note, ed. 421. Nature of course, theoretical. Level, B.Ed. Credit hours, 3. Semester, second total teaching hours, 48. Course description. This is a core course of B.Ed. This course is designed to provide students with an understanding of how social aspects interact with education. It is also designed to help students understand different social perspectives, their issues, reform movements, and their associated programs. The course uses current research and sociological theory to understand Nepalese education within a global context, examine the impact of relevant government policies for schooling, and to understand the interaction of sociological factors in relation to student achievements. Moreover, students will need to demonstrate an understanding of how a variety of social and cultural factors including socioeconomic status, ethnicity and cultural background, gender, geographic location, and religion may impact learning and achievement of the students. General objectives. The general objectives of this course are as follows. To provide the students with deeper and broader understanding of social perspectives of education. To provide the students with in-depth knowledge on different aspects of schools and society. To develop the understanding of social environment and its influences on students' achievement. To acquaint the students with the development programs and reforms in different periods in Nepal. To make the students familiar with the social policy and education in national context and for international understanding. To develop students' understanding of participatory approach of different local and district level plans in Nepal. Specific objectives and contents. Specific objectives. Contents. Explain the concept of social perspectives of education. Discuss the contents of sociology of education. Clarify the sociological perspectives in education. Unit I, Sociology of Education, 5. Concept of social perspectives in education. Concept of sociology and sociology of education. Contents of sociology of education. Sociological perspectives in education. Structural functional. Conflict. Symbolic interaction. Explain school as a subsystem of society. Clarify meaning and importance of socialization. Describe different agencies of socialization. Describe the influence of social environment in school. Unit 2, The School and Society, 14. School as a subsystem of society. Socialization. Meaning. Importance. Agencies of education and socialization. Family. Peer group. School. Community. Association media. Political, religious, and economical groups. Educational system and the environment. Home and family influences on school. Influence of religion on school. Financing of schools. Influence of political and legal institutions on schools. Influence of community on school. Clarify different social issues related to education system of Nepal. Explain the influence of different social factors on educational access and achievement in the context of Nepal. Unit 3, Social Issues and Education, 7. Social class and status group. Caste and ethnicity. Gender. Language. Religion. Geography. Influence of these factors on educational access and achievement in the context of Nepal. Explain the meaning of social policy in education. Clarify the concept and measures of equality and equity in education. Discuss the role of equality and equity in access and achievement in school education in Nepal. Elaborate right-based approach to education with reference to human right, child right, women's right and people with disability in Nepalese context. Explain the need of education for national integration. Explain education from international understanding. Unit 4, Social Policy and Education, 12. Meaning of social policy in education. Equality and equity in education. Concept and measures. Access and achievement in school education in Nepal. Right-based approach to education. Human right. Child right. Women's right. Right of people with disability. Provision of these rights in Nepalese context. Inclusive education. Education for national integration. Education for international understanding. Elaborate the education programs and reforms in Nepal before democratic period, in transition period, democratic reform period. Unit V, Education programs and reforms in different periods in Nepal, 7. Pre-democratic period, before 2007 BS. Transition period, 2007 BS to 2027 BS. Reform period, 2028 to 2046 BS. Democratic reform period, 2046 BS onwards. Review the participatory planning process of local and districts level education plans VIP, SIP, DEP. Unit 6, Critical review of participatory planning process, 3. School Improvement Plan, SIP. Village Education Plan, VEP. District Education Plan, DEP. Note, the figures in the parentheses indicate the approximate periods for the respective units. Instructional Techniques. The instructional techniques for this course are divided into two groups. The first group consists of general instructional techniques applicable to most of the units. The second group consists of specific instructional techniques applicable to specific units. General Instructional Techniques. Lecture. Discussion. Question-answer. Instructional Techniques. Unit. Suggested Instructional Techniques. 2 and 3. Students will be divided into groups and given different topics for group work. Groups will prepare report and share in the class. Presentation will be followed by discussion and suggestions. V. Groups of students will collect different plans, study them to identify strengths and weaknesses in relation to participatory process in these plans. Evaluation. Internal evaluation, 40%. Internal evaluation will be conducted by subject teacher based on following activities. Attendance 5. Class participation 5. First assignment 10. Second assignment 10. Third assignment 10. Total 40. 5.2 Final/semester evaluation, 60%. Examination Division, Office of the Dean, Faculty of Education will conduct final examination at the end of semester. Objective type question, multiple choice 10x 1 points, 10. Short answer questions, 6 questions x 5 points. 30. Long answer questions, 2 questions x 10 points, 20. Total 60. Recommended books and references. Recommended books. Ballantyne, J.H., 1997. The Sociology of Education, A Systematic Analysis. New Jersey, Prentice Hall. Unit 2. Crow, and Crow, A., 1976. Introduction to Education, New Delhi, Eurabia, Publishing House. 4 Units I and 2. B.N., 1995. Foundations of Education Thought and Practice Calculata, Kalyani Publication. 4 Units I, 2 and 6. Mohanty, Jagannath, 2005. Teaching of Sociology, New Trends and Innovations. New Delhi, Deep and Deep Publications Private Limited, Unit I. Morris, V.C. E.T. Al., 1963. Becoming an Educator. Boston, Houghton Mifflin Company. 4 Unit 2. Ornstein, A.C. and Levine D.U., 1989. Foundations of Education, 4th ed. Boston, Houghton Mifflin Company. Unit I and 2. Ottaway, A.K.C., 1964. Education and Society. An Introduction to Sociology of Education London, Routledge and Keegan Paul. 4 Units I and 2.
4 Unit, V. 4 Unit V and 6. 4 Unit V.
References. Ariel, PNETAL, 2065. Philosophical and Sociological Foundations of Education, Kirtipur, Quest Publication. Bhatia, KK, 1983. Principles and Practices of Education, Ludhiana, Kalyani Publishers. Bhattarai, H.N., 2063. Foundations of Education, Kathmandu, Jupiter Publisher and Distributor. Coombs, P.H., 1960. The World Educational Crisis, System Analysis Allahabad, A.H. Wheater & Co. Private Ltd. Thakal, M. P. 2063. Philosophical and Sociological Foundations of Education, Kathmandu, Bidhyarthi Pustak Bandar. Dorothy, 1965. Social Perspective on Education. The Society, the Student, the School. New York, John Wiley & Sons. Inc. 4, EET.AL. 1992, Learning to Be, The World Education Today and Tomorrow. Paris, UNESCO. Hamadi, A.H., 1989. Open University, Retrospect and Prospect, Delhi, Bibliographics, Beria. Neller, G.E., 1967. Foundations of Education, 2-ended, Sydney, John Wiles & Sons Incorporated. Shrestha, C.B. and Basnet, S., 2063. Philosophical and Sociological Foundations of Education. Kathmandu, Buddhi Puran Prakashan. Thio, A., 1968. An Introduction to Sociology. New York, Happer and Row Publisher.